So today we're going to show you how to set up your Git client and install Python, VScode, and PyQt for your 340 projects.
Yeah, so we're going to stand here as the example, and we're essentially going to pretend to be two people setting up our repo for first use in this class.
So first we're going to install Git. Also, I'm Alex. I'm doing the Windows version of this.
Yep, I'm Ben. I'm here on Linux. You can see my screen in my video.
So first, there's a fancy website called gitforwindows.org. You just Google Git on Windows, and easy way to find that. That's where we're going to go to Git for Windows.
Yep, and for any Ubuntu-based distro, it's, essentially as simple as sudo apt install git.
We're going to run this client. And I've already got Git for Windows installed, so it might look a little bit different on yours. Just going to make sure you run through this and install it where you want it to go.
So once we got git installed, we essentially have to either set up our GitHub and clone our repo. So while Git is installing, if you're still on that step, you can head over to GitHub and you can go to your profile and go to your settings page. And then you'll want to drop down to SSH and GPG keys. Now, you'll probably need to follow some steps that Alex will show you how to generate an SSH key on Windows, but I can start doing that here already.
Yep. Right now, we're going to hit install on this. After you got those options, just do the default ones. I'll go ahead and install a Git, and then there's a set of um, once that's installed, we can get the SSH keys generated. We're going to launch Git Bash. You're going to type in the command SSH keygen -t RSA 96. And here you're going to put in your email. So for instance, I'm going to put in the email I use for my Git hub account. Then you're going to have it saved to a certain file. It just go with the .sh/id/rsa. That's where your RSA key should go. I'm going to put it in a slightly different file because I already have an SSH key. So I'm just going to make sure it doesn't overwrite my main one.
So here I've completed adding the SSH key. As you'll notice on Windows, of course, you'll have a different path, but
On Windows, once you start generating, you'll probably want to give it a passphrase. I'm going to give it one just for the demo, but you probably want to type in something.
yeah, protecting your key with a SSH password is a good idea because it will prevent your key from being stolen or accidentally misused.
Exactly. And so once you get that generator, you're going to want to get that out of Git. You want to get your public key.
And remember not to upload your private key. That should never leave your machine.
Exactly. Then I want to add that to your, you're going to do after that, you'll do SSH-add. You'll type this into the command line. It's supposed to be a dot, not a zero there, or just a dash. You'll do SSH-add, and then wherever you chose to put your SSH key, I'm just showing what the default should be. If you just don't type in a custom file location. Right, I forgot to start the SSH key, my bad. The SSH agent.
On Linux, your SSH agent should already be running by default. So, and every time you start git bash, it will also start your agent for you.
All right. So just there, we added we added the SSH key to our agent, and then we're going to go to our GitHub profile, and you see I have SSH keys here. You're going to want to copy. I think it's a get to the copy it out. I'm trying to remember the command to get from like a bash terminal to your clipboard easily, like with the command line.
Xclip, or you could
Yeah, I
just
think
actually select it and copy it.
yeah, that's true too. I'll just go to the actual location of it.
Yeah, your SSH public key is just a string of text, so you don't need to worry about it being a file or anything. You can literally just select the text and copy and paste it in. And remember that you can use Control-Shift-V to paste into a Linux-style terminal if Control-V, does not work.
Exactly. So here we have where the key. I'll go ahead and open that up so you can see what it looks like. So see, there's just a giant string of letters and numbers. You're going to want to copy that. Go to your settings under profile up here. New SSH key. You want to title it something useful, so I'll just title it like my demo key. Then where it says key, you'll just paste it in there. And hit add SSH key, and you'll enter your password. And it's added. Next, we're going to install Visual Studio Code, or VScode. Just download the installer for that and run it on Windows.
Yep. Here all I needed to do was run the command, the path to the Debian package that I downloaded from the website.
Use the default settings and accept the agreement in the beginning, and then wait for it to extract the files and install them, and you're good to go. Alright, and then once you get VS Code ready, you're going to want to get Python, which you can just find by just Googling Python downloads, and it should bring you to the latest, or area where you can find which OS you're using. So here, I'm getting the latest version for Windows. And also, you're going to make sure you're getting Python 3, not Python 2.
Yeah, make sure that you're running a Python 3 version. If your pip for some reason is linked to Python 2, you can try the command pip3. So I've got code open in my project repo. Did you get it open?
Let me go check real fast. I don't think I'm in the, which repository are you talking about, Ben?
So when you go to our repo organization, once you get a team, you'll have access to your private team repo here. For example, the TAs, we have a repo here that's just an example default that we just created.
Yeah, let me refresh the page real fast. I don't see the TA repo actually.
Remember that the repos for this semester are separate from our UTK-CS organization. So you should have received an invite from
Yes.
either me or another TA to join this UTK CS340 Fall 2020 organization. I've been sending those invites out as the teams have become ready and had enough people. So if you haven't gotten an invite yet, don't worry. We'll either add you to a team when, the time needs to and you're looking for a team, or if you create a team and you already fill it up or have enough people, we'll invite you early like some teams already have, Some
I
teams
found the
already
repo.
have them there.
I was looking in the wrong area. All right. And so once you get Python installed, you want to get PyQt installed. That's as simple as using pip.
And we're using PyQt 5, not 4. So you'll want to make sure you type out PyQt 5.
Yep. Got it right here. Pip space install space PyQt 5. And then once it's installed, you're good to go. So now I'm going to go ahead and clone my team's repository onto my local account. So to do that, I'll do git clone URL. And then the folder I want it to go into, so I'll just call this demo repo. I can cd into there. And it'll tell me that the way I know that I'm in a repo is it'll have right next to your command line, like where you are and your name and stuff, it'll have in parentheses what branch you're looking at. So right now I'm looking at the master branch.
So do you want to create a hello world.py and I'll create a readme?
Sounds good, yeah.
Okay, so I've created a readme. Now we need to go over how you set up your git config variables. For your email address, you'll want to make sure that you have it linked with your GitHub account. So if I go to settings and I go to emails, you can see that my UTK ID is linked. So if it's not here, you literally can just do add an email address. And we recommend using your vols.utk or whichever one you use as your net ID. And you can add it there. It will send you a verification to that email address that you click on, and GitHub will acknowledge that you own that email. So once you've added that email in your Git client, you can set that email as your git config user.email, or optionally you can set it to any of the other emails in your account, because Git will link any of the emails you have listed to your commits. So for example, I'm just going to use my Gmail account as my git config. Oops. Looks like I forgot how to set the git config.
I think I had it.
Here we go. And for the name, you can set this to almost anything, but just using your full name is generally a good practice. This is the name that will show up when other people pull your repo and will show up in Git commits. But on GitHub, it'll actually display your GitHub username. You got that, Alex?
I do, yeah. I think it's the same commands, but on Windows as well.
Yeah, should be the exact same. Git config user.email and git config user.name. Those should be the only two required to make sure that your local Git is linked with your settings on GitHub.
Yep.
So now are we ready to commit our files to the repo?
I think so. Yeah, I've got the hello world.py ready.
Cool. Do you want to commit first or should I?
I'll let you go ahead and commit. Let me make sure.
Alright, then you'll get to demonstrate what happens when we both try to push to master.
Yep.
Here I've added the readme, and then I'm going to make a commit. Add readme. That's a pretty descriptive commit message. As you can see, commit was made, and now we can actually tell Git to synchronize our local changes with the remote by pushing our commit to the upstream.
I've just done the same thing. I've added the hello world.py and the commit message added hello world.py.
So if that worked correctly, we should see that our local branch master and our branch master on the repo, ta-da, our file has been uploaded.
I refresh, I also see the readme is now there. And I'll go ahead and now push my stuff up, try to push mine. So I'll do git push. And I get a warning, rejection.
Yes.
Because there's been changes upstream. So I've got to actually first do a git pull, which is how you get stuff from the server, the GitHub itself, onto your local machine. So before I'll do a quick ls, and you see all I have in here is hello world.py. When I do git pull, it'll grab. Oh, it's asking for a merge. Okay. Should be fine. All right. And now if I do ls, I'll see the readme has been added. And now I should be able to safely do a git push. And it will now put hello world.py onto the GitHub.
Hey, look. There's a hello world. And since Alex pushed a master here, I can actually pull his changes now, because I'm also on master. And that actually brings down the file that he committed here. So, I made an issue because your Python file doesn't actually add 2 plus 2.
That is a big issue, I agree.
So that kind of needs to get fixed. Now, do you see any problems with my README that you need to make an issue for?
Yes, I realize it should be the very best team, not just the
best
team.
Okay.
I'll go make an issue real fast here.
Alright. I'm going to go work on adding 2 plus 2. So I'm going to say that this is my issue and not yours.
I'll work on fixing the README as well.
Now before I get started on this, I don't want to force Alex to have to re-merge those changes and deal with a conflict. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new branch to work on my feature. And I'm going to call it something descriptive for the issue that I'm working on, and I can say add numbers. So now we see that we are actually on a brand new branch here, so we're not dealing with master anymore. So when we make edits over here, we can go to VScode and we can say hello world needs to add 2 numbers. Let's print 2 plus 2. I'd say that solves the issue. Of course, you'd be doing, a lot more work in your actual iteration issues. But we can see that we modified it. We can do the same commit. We can add the -a flag to the git commit command to automatically add all the modified changes. Note that -a won't automatically add new files, so you'll need to add those manually.
Was it you made a new branch again? I actually have not had much experience with that.
That you
Uh,
can do with git checkout dash b and then the name of a branch.
Perfect. So, and that will make a new branch as well.
And when I make the commit, in order to associate this commit with which issue I'm working on, I'm going to look at the issue number, right, which is in the URL, and it has the number in the title as number 1. And I say fix issue number 1. And then when I make that commit, it says, good, we're fixed number 1. Now you'll notice a hint in my prompt here. There's no +1. That's because this branch doesn't actually exist on the repo yet, because we just made this branch locally. So when we push, we need to actually add some extra parameters to make sure that this branch gets created on the upstream, which is GitHub. Alright, I have made a new branch with my fix for issue number 1. Now of course we don't see it on master yet. Ta-da!
If I go look at the issue itself, I can see that Ben has added a commit that references this issue. It says fix on it. And I can actually see that exact commit and see what he changed by adding print 2+2.
So this is how TAs will be able to tell which commits go with which issues to make sure that you're actually, doing the work essentially, instead of just, adding and removing the same file over and over. So I think that this issue is pretty much solved, so I'm going to go make a pull request. Now this pull request is essentially requesting a merge from my branch onto the master branch. And so as each person, fixes their issue or, commits their code onto a new branch, you'll want to make a pull request to get reviews from your teammates to make sure that the code is actually good before it makes it into your final product code. So I've opened my pull request, and I've requested a review from you, Alex.
All right, I'll go check it out. I see that it does, in fact, check out. I can read the commit real fast, look at what changed. So that looks good to me.
And I
So I'll
see
go
that
ahead.
you pushed onto your branch. Looking good.
I'll go ahead, and you know what? I'll approve the merge. I'll merge a pull request. I'll hit confirm merge. Pull request successfully merged and closed. So if we go back to the code, we'll now see there's a commit. The commit message for hello-world.py has changed to be fix number 1, #1. If I go and actually view the code in the master branch of the GitHub, it is now updated to have print 2+2.
And you know that since I used the special keyword fix and then I linked the issue, when that got merged to master, the commit automatically closes the issue and marks it as resolved. So that's less work that you have to do on your part to keep track of the issues.
Exactly.
So now, when my teammate Alex comes along and requests his changes to be merged, I can do the same thing on my side. Now you don't need to get reviews from all of your teammates, just one would be fine, but it would be better if you had everybody actually seeing each part of the code.
Not only does it help make sure, any bugs are found, but it also makes sure everyone knows what the code's actually doing. And I've just now requested Ben check out my pull request.
Yes. Take a look at the changes over here. The very best team. Excellent. I like these changes. You can see that here is requesting review. So if we didn't want to immediately merge it, we can go click add a review, and I can say excellent. Now we can also change our review, say if somebody did something wrong or there was a bug in this PR, we can change this to say request changes. But I can click submit review. It says changes approved. And I can click merge pull request. And Alex actually used the other hot word, closed, which should have automatically closed the other issue when it made it to master.
If I go check, I see the issue is in fact closed as well.
Awesome. So that's how most of the flow for this semester is going to go. Let's run our Python code to make sure it actually works, though.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll quickly do a git pull to make sure I have the newest version.
Ah, right. Good call. I almost forgot to switch back to master. Notice
Yeah,
that
me
I'm
too,
still
actually.
on. So we got to git checkout master again. And now it says we're up to date. However, that's only up to date with what our local version thinks it is. So if we do a git fetch, it'll show us that master was updated. We do a git status and it tells us our branch is behind by so many commits. We can use Git Pull to bring in those commits locally. And as we can see, we're back to where master is on GitHub. So that's how we synchronize our code across our computers, essentially, so everybody can work on the project.
It's usually a good idea when like you're about to sit down and start working on your part of the project some to go ahead and do the git pull at the very beginning to make sure you've got the latest updates, especially if multiple people are working on the same file at once.
Yeah, and using branches will alleviate a lot of the headaches that you might experience early on without it.
That too. And if we run the Python code, we see it both prints out hello world and 2 plus 2, which is 4.
Awesome. Well, that basically finishes our iteration, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. It's a good project we got there.
Cool. Any questions, feel free to tag us. You can select us on GitHub. If you go to either your repo, say if you have a problem with your actual repository, I'm just going to make an example issue here. Say, help, a team member lost access. You can actually tag us by doing at CS340, the technical team of TAs. It should show up on your autocomplete. Help. And when you submit a new issue, that'll actually notify all of the TAs here. So since Alex is part of that, you should have gotten a notification, right?
I actually don't have one of my GitHub notifications for some reason. Let me see if let me check under mentioned. Team mentioned. Yeah, I didn't actually get it. I didn't get a notification from that just yet.
Well, I certainly got the notification, so
Huh.
at least one of us will answer your call.
Yeah, I'll try to figure out why my notifications aren't coming through.
But, so then one of our TAs can come along and help you deal with whatever issue. Say, you can add your team member back or fix your permissions on your repo if you can't get them working.
Right. Is there anything else we need to go over?
Nope, that's it. That's everything you need to know right now.
All right. Well, good luck this semester, and let us know if you need any help with anything.
Cool. See ya.